You are blessed beings indeed. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and you are feeling the intensity increasing, are you not? For a long, long time, we have been telling you that there are great changes coming to your planet, and you are in the beginning of those changes right now. You are not in the midst of them, you are in the beginning of them. And what we want you to understand is that there are two sides to this coin. There are two sides to the coin of transformation that you are going through. And those two sides are going to be felt by each of you depending on your frequency. So we are not going to tell anybody off for feeling negative feelings. What we are asking all of you to do is come to understand your guidance system, which is a direct contact with love. Your guidance system is in the frequency of love. It is your invisible umbilical cord to your creator, to source, to all that is, to that which you would call God. And that means that when you are not feeling good, you are out of accord with love. So when you are observing what you perceive to be negativities in the world, we want to remind you that you are Course in Miracles students. We want to remind you that this is the ego's playground. This world is not designed to make you happy. This world is a world of separation. And what are you witnessing now? You are witnessing separation being forced upon you. And you are witnessing separation being willingly complied with. So you are observing the ego's playground. Remember this. Remember this. When we first started channeling through this being, we told her, do not be upset if you see a dog pooping on the sidewalk. That is what dogs do. There is no point in getting upset about it. That is the nature of dogs. Well, your world, this world of separation, you see this world of war, you see the diseases, you see sicknesses, you see divorces, you see all of these negativities playing out. This is the nature of the ego's playground. And it will constantly replay negativity upon negativity until the cooperative components, the seemingly individual minds that make up the collective, change their mind. So as Course in Miracles students, it's very, very important for you to remember that you are watching separation at play. That's the default setting here. Love is not the default setting in the physical material world. Separation is the default setting in the physical material world. Love is your nature, but you have come into separation by your own free will. And so you have chosen to walk away from love. And many of you, even though you're Course in Miracles students, still are riddled with beliefs and ideas of separation. And when you are being put in a pressure cooker, as you are now, this is when these subterranean beliefs begin to surface. Our dear one has been having feelings of anger and rage that she has never felt before. And she understands that that has always been there. It has been underground, subconscious. And now, because of the pressure cooker of the circumstances that you are experiencing, things that you have not observed in your own personality before are coming up. Some of those things are good things. There are feelings of intense empowerment coming up in many of you. There is a feeling of vital life force coming up in many of you. There is a feeling of a strong desire for freedom and independence and creativity coming up in all of you. So this is not a one-sided experience. It is a multifaceted experience depending on how much work you have done. For many of you that have been doing the course for a while, you will have dissipated some of the negative feelings that others are having. You will have trained yourself out of attacking. You will have trained yourself out of judgment. You will have trained yourself into understanding that when you feel bad, you're off track. So all of humanity at this time is having their inner selves revealed to them. And each one of you is going to have a different experience. However, if you've been doing A Course in Miracles, if you've been doing your forgiveness practice, you are going to be much clearer about what's actually going on inside of you. Are you afraid for your life, or are you afraid for your lifestyle? Sometimes the ego will act as if it's going to die when its lifestyle is threatened. So that means that perhaps the many dinners out are being taken away, the many trips around the world are being taken away, the opportunity to do certain things is being taken away, and the ego will react to that as if it's life-threatening, when in actual fact, it's not life-threatening. It's just lifestyle-threatening. So when you are traveling through your experiences at this time, we want you to be really well aware of what is coming up in you. Who are you angry at? Are you feeling empowered, or are you feeling disempowered? Are you feeling motivated, or are you feeling depressed? Each of these things can come up depending on where you are in your spiritual work. So one of the big questions, of course, that's coming up as you are going through this next phase of the operation, we're going to call it, is the mask wearing issue. Now, our dear one gets very fired up over the mask wearing issue. And we want to say to you and to her at this point, that is fine. When you get fired up and you feel passionate about something, it's because there is something for you to learn in that experience. When you have a passion about anything, whether it's music or horses or gardening, it doesn't matter. When you have a passion for something, that's your blueprint telling you that within that subject, there is a lot of learning. There is a lot of growing, and there is a lot of fun to be had. It is not all going to be happiness and roses. There are times you are drawn into a passion because it is where you are going to learn the most. And as you understand it, learning can be very challenging. It can be very tiring. It can be disorienting at times, being put in situations that you've never been put into before, having to figure out a new way of being. And this is what this whole mask wearing situation is bringing up for a lot of you, is you are being put in a situation, perhaps for the first time, where your choice is being denied. Now, many of you living in the West have had lots of choices. You've had lots of freedoms. You can ride bikes, you can drive cars, you can go to university, you can get married, you can be gay, you can have children or not, you can do whatever you want. And for many of you, this is one of the first times that you are being denied freedom. And so you are having a response because that experience has never come your way before. And so you have not experienced the ego's response reaction to having your freedom taken away from you. Some of you who have traveled a lot have seen other places and seen either the deprivation or more rules that apply in those places. For example, if you're a female and you have traveled to the Middle East and you've had to cover your head and your face, you will have had feelings coming up that are similar to those coming up in people now. There are people who want to wear masks because it is in alignment with their belief in sickness. Now, 99% of the population deeply believe in sickness. If you're a Course in Miracles student, you may still really believe in sickness because you've not gone through the transformative process enough to have let that go. But if you 100% don't believe in sickness, then the idea of wearing a mask is completely against the very fiber of your being, and there will be a strong reaction, a strong no coming up, because it literally goes against the very frequency that you're holding. And that is okay. It is for you to understand, however, that not everybody feels this way and not everybody is going to react that way. And in fact, you will be in the minority, because most people do believe in sickness. They do believe that they are vulnerable. They do believe that they are under threat. And they do believe in the news, because that's what they've been watching decade upon decade upon decade. Many of you have been shifting and changing those patterns, and you will see the difference in your reaction to the news, to other people. And this, of course, is why we wanted you not to watch the news, because we knew that this was coming. We knew that the propaganda was going to be disseminated through your television mass media systems. And if you were hooked into them, then you would be feeling terrible and afraid. So those of you that have already stepped away from those systems, you are not feeling afraid. You are, in fact, feeling a rising up of strength, a rising up of power, a rising up of your desire to exert your freedom, to maintain your freedom, to express your freedom. Now, if you think about what a 5D world looks like, that's what it looks like. It looks like free people expressing themselves, being creative, and allowing others to do that as well. And that's the underlying message that we want to bring forth today for those of you that are struggling with what's going on. You do not need to struggle with what's going on. You need to deal with yourself. That means you need to decide what you are going to do, how you are going to act, what that decision is based upon, and how you are going to negotiate your way through the systems that you are going to encounter as you make those decisions. Our dear one has decided that she is not going to wear a mask no matter what happens. Now, there are some beings who say, why the big deal? Well, her understanding is exactly what we said earlier, that everything in her body says no to a mask. In fact, when she does put a mask on, within 2 or 3 seconds, it's coming off her face because she cannot breathe. And what that is not a physiological reaction, even though it's manifesting as a physiological reaction. It is, in fact, her mind saying no. And you must remember this, that your body will be the messenger of the mind. So your body will seem to be the thing that cannot tolerate it, but in fact, it is the mind saying, I will not wear this. This does not sit well with me. So what we would like to share with you all here is, as you go through these changes and transformations that you are witnessing, the easier you are, the more downstream you are, the more relaxed you are, the more happy you are by refusing to indulge in negativities, by indulging in your garden, in walking your pet, in hanging out with people you love and care for, in doing creative projects, in doing things that you love and thinking about things that you love, listening to music that you love. You can cultivate a frequency that is going to make you immune. That is going to make you immune to the lower frequency operations that are going on your planet. When we talk about rising above the battleground, we are not speaking metaphorically. We are telling you that you will be above the battleground. Circumstances, finances, opportunities, meetings with people will come to you, that will allow you to be above the battleground. Now, when you read or listen to stories of mass vaccinations, mass this, mass that. When you are in an underpowered place, there is a belief that the outside world is what is controlling you. But as Course in Miracles students, you understand that the outside world is the reflection of an inner condition. Your inner condition is going to be what determines the experience you have. As we have said, two people can be standing next to each other in exactly the same circumstances, and the tree branch will fall on one person's head and not on the other person's head, and it is not random. It is because the frequency of one is different than the frequency of another, even though they are standing a foot apart. There are beings who are caught in disasters where their closest partner is with them and does not survive, and yet they do. There is this protective bubble of frequency that each of you is cultivating. It is a real thing. It is not an imaginary thing. And so your guidance, when you are calm, when you are relaxed, when you are cheerful, when you are accepting that you are connected and you will hear the message that is for you, you will indeed get information that will guide you to the people, places, things, and experience, and at times locations that are the best for you. So this is the way that we want you to deal with this quote unquote crisis. Continue with your Course in Miracles practice, continue with your forgiveness practice, continue refusing to watch mainstream media, continue doing the things you love, focusing on the things you love, paying attention to when you go off track, getting yourself back on track as quickly as you can, extending the love that you have for your family, your friends, your world, your community, through being yourself, through being authentic, through being congruent. That means thinking, speaking, and acting as a unit so that you're not disrupted within yourself. So if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. But if you don't want to wear a mask, don't wear a mask. You are then the one that's in conflict. And that means that you are going to begin to invite to you conflicting situations because you are in conflict. Be congruent, be honest, be authentic. Trust that you are on track and on purpose. Trust that you are being given all the information you need to change and maneuver your way through these transformations. And if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you are feeling as if you don't have enough information, read the books that we have channeled through this being again, because there's a lot of foundational information in those books that was designed to prepare you for these times, so that you understood how your mind worked, you understood how your energy body worked, you understood the programs that you've been exposed to, you understand what love is, you understand what death isn't, you understand what sexual energy is. All of these are elements of your own power that you need to understand and manage so that you are a fully creative, tuned in being, knowing that you will always have the information that you need to make the appropriate next logical decision in your life. So it is about maintaining your peace. It is about maintaining your desire for that elevated above the battleground overview of what's happening. This, however, does not mean that some of you are not going to be motivated to be proactive or political or participating in the system. So there are circumstances coming on the horizon where there are beings who are thinking about litigation. Now, litigation is a system of decision-making that's been brought in to help make decisions where two people cannot agree. So there are governments being sued at this point. There are individuals being sued. There are doctors being sued. There are all kinds of members of the, we will say, organizational structures that are being confronted by beings that are refusing to comply, or saying that they are in fact committing crimes against humanity by doing what they're doing. What you are seeing there is you are seeing certain people guided to stand in their power and become politically active. If that's you, you will know that it's you. You will have an overwhelming urge to participate in some form of either protestation or political action or legal action. Not all of you are going to feel that way. Some of you are going to feel that you maybe should do something, but you're too scared because it's a dodgy situation in the area where you are. We want you to understand that each one of you has your own guidance system as it relates to these subjects that we just mentioned. Not all of you are going to be able or willing to stand your ground in front of someone who's confronting you. Some of you will. Some of you will want to do that. Some of you are revolutionaries. Some of you are protesters. Some of you are going to be on the front lines. Others of you are going to be the meditators, the holders of the frequency of love. You are not going to be guided to do those sorts of things, but some of you are. So this is really a time of coming into knowing yourself. Know yourself, know what motivates you, know what frightens you, know where your weak points are. Work on strengthening your weak points. If you are always afraid of upsetting other people and you never speak up and you never stand firm in your beliefs, never stand up and say, that's wrong, we shouldn't be doing this, because you're afraid of what others will think, this may be the very time in your evolutionary journey where it is time to do that, where you almost say to yourself, I'm sick of being quiet, I'm sick of being compliant, I am actually feeling the urge to become more active. And that may be the experience that your spirit wanted to have and needed to have at this point in time. There may be others who have been politically active for a long time and are exhausted, and they say, I'm going into lockdown and I'm just going to see what happens. I've been doing this for too long. And that may be their choice. So in this circumstance, listen to your guidance. You will know if you are meant to do something. You will know absolutely and clearly if your teachers and guides are telling you to do something. What you must understand is that there are transformational energies that are bombarding your planet that are going to continue to incite riot. The increasing frequencies are disruptive in that sense, just as when you heat a body of water, it begins to boil, it becomes agitated. And that's what's happening to your society now. It seems as if it's going insane in some ways. It is ascension madness. It is exactly that. One being on the Mighty Networks platform said, how do we stop this? You do not stop this. You cannot stop this. The underlings in your society, the slave class in your society, those with no seeming power, no seeming influence, are rising up. They are rising up out of the illusion of poverty and powerlessness into their true spiritual nature, which is sovereignty. And that's what you're seeing. You're seeing on the ground in real time the evolution of human consciousness from slave mentality into sovereignty. And you will not see it stop, because that is how you evolve. That is what is happening here. It is turning a slave society into a society of sovereign beings who will no longer be told what to do, who will no longer sit down and do as they are told. It is not going to work anymore. The systems of indoctrination, the school systems that tell you to sit down and be quiet and do as you're told and get a gold star, are no longer going to work, because the forces of nature, the forces of human evolution are greater. And that is why it looks so chaotic, because the system is trying to maintain control of something that is uncontrollable. We will take a short break.